Hey, hey, welcome back to Outbrain Audiobooks. I'm Graham, one of the narrators. Welcome back to this experimental live read of the MAGUS from 1801 by Francis Barrett. Its other name is Or Celestial Intelligencer, Complete System of Occult Philosophy. So we've been through book one, book two. This is part two, book two. Yeah, I think it's part two, book two, or part one, the end of part one. We're in the Kabbalistic stuff on angels and spirits and all that. So this is again just sort of a caveat that we don't condone practicing any of this stuff at all. It's for entertainment and information purposes only. This book gets very grimoire-ish towards towards in this sort of section, more so than book one. So we're going through it. I'm going to show you exactly kind of how I make the sausage here. That we are humans. We're not just AI voices. So I'm going to share my screen with my PDF and/or website that I use and my recording software. And this is going to be a pretty challenging segment. There's a lot of names. A lot of them are pretty basic, but there's definitely some I'm going to have to struggle through. I've got some Hebrew translations that I have to try and read, so it's going to be a little slow going. I'll try to do the best I can, but let's just jump into it here, and I'll share my entire screen over there. Normally, when I do it on my own, of course, I have this on. This would be on a full screen, and the recording software would be on a full screen. A little bit easier to do, so I'm just going to try and keep that recording level up there. We'll do a quick test here. Check, check, check. So these are small chapters. There's about 10. I'm going to have to leave a little break between there so I can split them up later. A little silent break. So there'll be a few seconds of silence between each chapter. And I'm going to try and get through the rest of this part of the book, but I don't know. We'll see how long this goes. And then there's some attachments in here that we'll look at, some charts of Hebrew lettering and names of all the 72 angels and stuff. So we'll look at those. We'll look at those as we go along as well. Chapter 11 of the names of spirits and their various imposition, and of the spirits that are set over the stars, signs, corners of the heaven, and the elements. Many and different are the names of good and bad spirits, but their proper and true names, as those of the stars, are known to God alone, who only numbers the multitude of stars and calls them by their names, whereof none can be known by us but by divine revelation. Very few are expressed to us in Sacred Writ, but the masters of the Hebrews think that the names of angels are imposed on them by Adam, according to that which is written, "The Lord brought all things which he made unto Adam, that he should name them, and as he called anything, so the name of it was." Hence the Hebrew Makubals think, together with magicians and Kabbalists, that it is in the power of man to impose names upon spirits, but of such a man only who is dignified and elevated to this virtue by some divine gift or sacred authority. But because a name that may express, I'm just going to stop there, pull this down a little bit, check the record level. It's dropped down to way below where it should be. But because a name check, check, check. We do like a voice, like a volume leveler and stuff afterwards through the editing process, so it should be okay. But usually it doesn't drop below 45%. So, but because a name that may express the nature of divinity or the whole virtue of angelical essences cannot be made by any human voice, therefore names for the most part are put upon them from their works, signifying some certain office or effect which is required by the choir of spirits, which name then and not otherwise obtains efficacy and virtue to draw any spiritual substance from above or beneath to make any desired effect. I have seen and known some writing on virgin parchment the name and seal of some spirit in the hour of the moon, which afterwards he gave to be devoured by a water frog, and had muttered over some verse, "The frog being let go into the water, rains and showers presently followed." I saw also the same man inscribing the name of another spirit with the seal thereof in the hour of Mars, which was given to a crow, who, being let go, after a verse muttered over, there followed from that part of the heaven whither it flew lightnings, shaking, and horrible thunders, with thick clouds. Neither were those names of spirits of an unknown tongue, neither did they signify anything else but their offices. Of this kind are the names of those angels: Raziel, Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, Haniel, which is as much as to say the vision of God, the virtue of God, the strength of God, the medicine of God, the glory of God. In like manner, in the offices of evil demons are reeled. Let me just redo that. Hello, good morning. Thanks for the shout out in the chats there. In like manner, in the offices of evil demons are read their names, viz., a player, a deceiver, a dreamer, a fornicator, and many such like. So we received from many of the ancient fathers of the Hebrews the names of angels set over the planets and signs: over Saturn, Zaphael; over Jupiter, Zadkiel; over Mars, Camael; over the Sun, Raphael; over Venus, Haniel; over Mercury, Michael; over the Moon, Gabriel. These are the. Just stop there, redo that quickly. These are those seven spirits which always stand before the face of God, to whom is entrusted the disposing the whole celestial and terrene kingdoms which are under the moon. For these, as the more curious theologians say, govern all things by a certain vicissitude of hours, days, and years. As the astrologers teach concerning the planets which they are set over, which Mercurius Trismegistus calls the seven governors of the world, who by the heavens, as by instruments, distribute the influences of all the stars and signs upon their inferiors. There are some who ascribe them to the stars by names somewhat differing, saying that over Saturn is set an intelligence called Oraphael, and Jupiter Zachariel; over Mars Zamael; over the Sun Michael; over Venus Anael; over Mercury Raphael; over the Moon Gabriel. And every one of these governs the world 354 years and 4 months. And the government begins from the intelligence of Saturn. Afterwards, in order, the intelligences of Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, the Moon, and the Sun reign, and the government returns to the spirit of Saturn. Excuse me. Tritemius writ to Maximilian Caesar a special treatise concerning these, which he that will thoroughly examine may from thence draw great knowledge of future times. Over the 12 signs are set these, viz., over Aries, Malachidial; over Taurus, Asmodel; over Gemini, Umbriel; over Cancer, Muriel; over Leo, Verkiel; over Virgo, Hamaliel; over Libra, Zuriel; over Scorpio, Barcael; over Sagittarius, Advakiel; over Capricorn, Hanael; over Aquarius, Cambiel; over Pisces, Barcael. Of these spirits set over the planets and signs, John made mention of in the Revelation, speaking of the former in the beginning, and the seven spirits which are in the presence of the throne of God, which I find are set over the seven planets in the end of the book, where he describes the platform of the heavenly city, saying that on the 12 orits there are of 12 angels. There are again 28 angels who rule in the 28 mansions of the moon, whose names are Genial, Enediel, Enixiel, Azariel, Gabriel, Dorakiel, Sheliel, Amnediel, Barbiel, Ardephiel, Nisiel, Abdiziel, Jezreel. I'm just going to double check that. Just double check that one. Enixiel, Enediel, Azariel, Abdizuel, Jazariel, Ergidiel, Jazariel, Ergidiel, Telkini, okay, Ergidiel. The rest of them are pretty normal. Ergidiel, Ergidiel, Atliel, Azuriel, Adriel, Agibael, Amutiel, Kiriel, Bethanel, Galiel, Requiel, Abriniel, Agiel, Tagriel, Atheniel, Amnixiel. There are also 4 princes of the angels which are set over the 4 winds and over the 4 parts of the world. Michael is placed over the east wind, Raphael over the west, Gabriel over the north, Nariel, who by some is called Ariel, is over the south. There are also assigned to the elements these, viz., to the air Cherub, to the water Tharsis, to the earth Ariel, to the fire Seraph. Now every one of these spirits is a great prince, and has much power and freedom in the dominion of his own planets and signs, and in their times, years, months, days, and hours, and in their elements and parts of the world and winds, and every one of them rules over many legions. And after the same manner, among evil spirits there are 4, who as most potent kings are set over the rest according to the 4 parts of the world, whose names are these, viz., Uraeus, king of the east, Amaimon, king of the south, Paimon, king of the west, Egin, king of the north, which the Hebrew doctors perhaps call more rightly thus, Samuel, Azazel, Aziel, and Mahazuel, under whom many others rule as princes of legions and rulers. Likewise, there are innumerable demons of private offices. Moreover, the ancient theologians of the Greeks reckon up 6 demons, which they call Telkines. Telkines. Alasteries. Telkines. Moreover, the ancient theologians of the Greeks reckon up 6 demons, which they... Just going to redo that whole sentence there. Check. Moreover, the ancient theologians of the Greeks reckon up 6 demons, which they call Telkines, others Alastories, which bearing ill will to men take up water out of the river Styx with their hands, sprinkle it upon the earth, whence follow calamities, plagues, and famines. And these are said to be Actius, Magalesius, Ormenius, Lycus, Nikon, Maimon. But he that desires to know exactly the distinct names, offices, places, and times of angels and evil demons, let him inquire into the book of Rabbi Simon of the Temples, and in his book of Lights, and in his treatise of the greatness of stature, and in the treatise of the temples of Rabbi Ishmael, and in almost all the commentaries of his book on formation, and he shall find it written at large concerning them. All right, on to the next one. I'll just leave a gap here. Chapter 12. The Kabbalists draw forth the sacred names of angels from Sacred Writ, and of the 72 angels who bear the names of God, with the Tables of Ziruph and the Commutations of names and numbers. There are also other sacred names of good and evil spirits deputed to each office of much greater efficacy than the former. which the Kabbalists draw from sacred writs, according to that art which we teach concerning them, as also certain names of God are drawn forth out of certain places. The general rule of these is that wheresoever anything of divine essence is expressed in the Scripture, from that place the name of God may be gathered. But in what place soever in the Scripture the name of God is found expressed, then mark what office lies under that name. Wheresoever therefore the Scripture speaks of the office or work of any spirit, good or bad, from thence the name of that spirit, whether good or bad, may be gathered. Excuse me just a sec, I got a burp. Check, check, check. This unalterable rule being observed, that of good spirits we receive the names of good spirits, of evil the names of evil. And let us not confound black with white, nor day with night, nor light with darkness, which by these verses, as by an example, is manifest. Let them be as dust before the face of the wind, and let the angel of the Lord scatter them. Let their ways be darkness and slippery, and let the angel of the Lord pursue them. Let's see, I have a Hebrew pronunciation here for that. I don't know if I should go for it or just come back in and edit it later. Yeah, you bimutz. Yeah, I think I will make a note and come back in and do that later. Just let me make a note here. So I'm in chapter 12. Uh, 10:30 in. Yeah, I won't be pronouncing that now for the YouTube. Hey, Benjamin. I'll just leave it for later. So, anyways, there's some Hebrew, and the translation I got is a little different than the one they put here, but in the 35th Psalm, I'm gonna leave a bit of a gap there. In the 35th Psalm with the Hebrews, but with us, the 37th. In the 35th Psalm with the Hebrews, but with us, the 34th, of which the names of those angels are drawn, Midael and Miriel, 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 Midael and Miriel, Midael and Miriel, of the order of warriors. So of that verse, thou shalt set over him the wicked, and Satan shall stand at his right hand. Out of Psalm. What is that? 109? CIX. Out of Psalm 109. With the Hebrews, but with the Latins, 108. Is extracted the name. I'm going to give that a break because I'm going to come back in and add that Hebrew pronunciation. Is extracted the name of the evil spirit, she, which signifies a spirit that is a worker of engines. I'm just going to see what my assistant says about that. I missed that one when I was checking this out. She, I think it's she. She, okay. Yeah, I got it right. Okay. Worker of engines. A spirit that is a worker of engines. It sounds kind of techy, like technomancy, like AI. There was a certain text in Exodus contained in 3 verses, whereof every one is written with 72 letters, beginning thus. The first, Vayasa. Vajisa. You know, that was a VJ. That was a J sounding one. I double checked that before. Yeah. It says it's Jot, Vajot, and Vajasi. Where's the other one? Vajabo, Vajabo, and Vajisa, Vajisa, Vajisa. Hmm. The first, the first Vajisa, the second Vajabo, and the third Vajot, which are extended into one line, viz., the first and the third from the left hand to the right, but the middle in a contrary order, beginning from the right to the left, is terminated on the left hand. Then each of the three letters being subordinate the one to the other make one name, which are 72 names, which the Hebrews called Shamhamphorai, to which, if the divine name El or Yah be added, they produce 72 trisyllable names of angels, whereof every one carries the great name of God, as it is written, My angel shall go before thee, observe him, for my name is in him. And these are those that are set over the 72 celestial quinaries, and so many nations and tongues and joints of man's body, and cooperate with the 72 seniors of the synagogue, and so many disciples of Christ. And their names, according to the extraction which the Kabbalists make, are manifest in the following table, according to the manner which we have mentioned. Where's the table? I thought they had all the attachments of the tables in here. Well, that's not good. I thought they had I'm sure they had the attachments there. Why are they not here? Okay, I'm going to just finish this chapter off and then we'll go look at some tables on the PDF. Now, there are many other ways of making Shamhamphara out of those verses, as when all three are written in a right order, one after the other, from the right to the left, besides those which are extracted by the tables of Ziruph and the tables of Commutations, of which we made mention of before, because these tables serve for all names, as divine, so angelical, we shall therefore subjoin them to this chapter. These are the 72 angels bearing the name of God, Shamhampharal. All right, I'm going to just go to my PDF backup here. Make sure I'm on the right chapter, 12. Tables, there we go. Let's see. So I'm going to just share this. Everybody. So there's the chapter there that we just finished. So they talk about plates 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's the Kabbalah with all the angels and the Hebrew lettering, and there's the other one, the Averse table of commutations, the Kabbalah, the table of the combinations, Ziruph, and the rational table of Ziruph. And that gets a little farther on here. This attachment there. So I think I can just do this and it'll pop back down to there. There we go. Hey, Rainwater. Chapter 13 of finding out the names of spirits and genii from the disposition of the celestial bodies. The ancient magicians taught an art of finding out the name of a spirit to any desired effect, drawing it from the disposition of the heavens, as, for example, any celestial harmony being proposed to thee, to make an image or a ring or any other work to be done under any constellation, if thou wilt find out the spirit that is the ruler of that work. The figure of the heaven being erected cast forth letters in their number and order, from the degree of the ascendant according to the succession of signs through each degree, by filling the whole circle of the heavens. Then those letters which fall into the places of the stars, the eight of which you would see. I made a mistake there. Then those. Now I'm all nervous, Rainwater. I'm losing my voice already. Okay. Check. Then those letters which fall into the places of the stars, the eight of which you would use, being according to the number and power of those stars marked without into number and order, making the name of a good spirit. But if thou wilt do so from the beginning of a degree falling against the progress of the signs, the resulting spirit shall be evil. By this art, some of the Hebrews and Chaldean masters teach that the nature and name of any genius may be found out, as, for example, the degree of the ascendant of any one's nativity being known, and the other corners of the heaven being co-equated. Let then let's. Then let that which has the most dignities of planets in those four corners, which the Arabians called Almutez, be first observed among the rest, and according to that in the second place, that which shall be next to it in the number of dignities, and so in order the rest of them, which obtain any dignity in the aforesaid corners. This order being used, you may know the true place and degree of them in the heavens, being from the degree of the ascendant through each degree according to the order of signs, to cast 22 of the letters of the Hebrews. Excuse me, burp a little bit there. Then what letters shall fall into the places of the aforesaid stars, being marked and disposed according to the order found out above in the stars, and rightly joined together according to the rules of the Hebrew tongue, make the name of a genius, to which, according to the custom, some monosyllable name of divine omnipotence, viz. El or Yah, is subjoined. But if the casting of the letters be made from an angle of the falling and against the succession of the signs, and the letters which shall fall in the nadir, that is the opposite point, of the aforesaid stars be after that order, are, as said, joined together, shall make the name of an evil genius. But the Chaldeans proceed another way, for they take not the Almutez of the angles, but the Almutez of the 11th house, and do all things as has been said. Now they find out an evil genius from the Almutez of the angle of the 12th house, which they call an evil spirit, casting from the degree of the falling against the progress of the signs. Chapter 14. Of the calculating art of such names by the tradition of Cabalists. There is yet another art of these kind of names, which they call calculatory, and it is made by the following tables by entering with some sacred, divine, or angelical name in the column of letters descending, by taking those letters which thou shalt find in the common angles under their stars and signs, which being reduced into order, the name of a good spirit is made of the nature of that star or sign under which thou didst enter. But if thou shalt enter into the column ascending, by taking the common angles above the stars and signs marked in the lowest line, the name of an evil spirit is made. And these are the names of spirits of any order of heaven, ministering as of good, so of bad, which you may after this manner multiply into 9 names of so many orders, inasmuch as you may, by entering with one name, draw forth another of a spirit of a superior order out of the same, as well of a good as a bad one. Yet the beginning of this calculation depends upon the names of God. For every word hath a virtue in magic, inasmuch as it depends on the word of God, and is thence framed. Therefore we must know that every angelical name must proceed from some primary name of God. Therefore angels are said to bear the name of God, according to that which is written, because my name is in him. Therefore that the names of good angels may be discerned from the names of bad. There is wont oftentimes to be added some name of divine omnipotence, as El or On or Yah or Yod, and to be pronounced together with it. And because Yah is a name of beneficence and Yod the name of a deity, therefore these two names are put only to the names of angels. But the name El, because it imports power and virtue, is therefore added not only to good but bad spirits. For neither can evil spirits either subsist or do anything without the virtue of El, God. But we must know that common angles of the same star and sign are to be taken, unless entrance be made with a mixed name, as are the names of Genii, and those of which it hath been spoken in the preceding chapter, which are named So I'm going to cheat this one probably here. I'll just cheat this sentence. But it made me think of Stranger Things, right? I mean, L imports power and virtue, and that girl was with the special powers was named L, right? Coincidentally, pretty interesting. Now I lost my place in the preceding chapter. There we are. Let's scroll up while I can. Which are made of the dispositions of the heavens according to the harmony of divines, which are made of the dispositions of the heavens according to the harmony of diverse stars. For as often as the table is to be entered with these, the common angle is to be taken under the star or sign of him that enters. There are moreover some that do so extend these tables that they think also if there be an entrance made with the name of a star or office, or any desired effect, a demon, whether good or bad, serving to that office or effect may be drawn out. Upon the same account that they enter with the proper name of any person can extract the names of the genii under that star, which shall appear to be over such a person as they shall, by his physiognomy, or by the passions and inclinations of his mind, and by his profession and fortune. Know him to be either martial or saturnine or solary, or of the nature of any other star. And although such kind of primary names have none or little power by their signification, yet such kind of extracted names, and such as are derived from them, are of a very great efficacy, as the rays of the sun collected in a hollow glass do most intensely burn, the sun itself being scarce warm. I think this is that's the stuff we already looked at. So they did have the attachments just in this further chapter down. Now, there is an order of letters in those tables under the stars and signs, almost like that which is with the astrologers of tens, 11s, 12s. Of this calculatory art, Alphonsus Cyprius once wrote, and also fitted it to Latin characters. But because the letters of every tongue, as we shewed in the first book, have in their number, order, and figure, a celestial and divine original, I shall easily grant this calculation concerning the name of spirits to be made not only by Hebrew letters, but also Chaldean, Arabic, Egyptian, Greek, and Latin, and many others, the tables being rightly made after the imitation of the presidents. But here is But here it is objected by many that it falls out that these in the tables of men of a differing nature and fortune do oftentimes, by reason of the sameness of name, obtain the same genius of the same name. We must know, therefore, that it is not be thought absurd that the same daemon may be separated from any one soul, and the same be said over more. Besides, as many men have the same name, so also spirits of diverse offices or natures may be noted or marked by one name, and by one and the same seal or character, yet in a different respect. For as the serpent does sometimes typify Christ and sometimes the devil, so the same names and the same seals may be applied sometimes to the order of a good demon, sometimes of a bad one. Lastly, the very ardent intention of the invocator, by which our intellect is joined to the separated. I was doing so good there on that one. Except my throat is raw. Lastly, the very ardent intention of the invocator, by which our intellect is joined to the separated intelligences, is the cause that we have sometimes one spirit, sometimes another, although called upon under the same name, made obsequious to us. See the following plates for the tables of the calculation of the names of spirits good and bad under the presidency of the 7 planets and under the order of the 12 militant signs. Chapter 15. Of the characters and seals of spirits. We must now speak of the characters and seals of spirits. Characters are nothing else than certain unknown letters and writings preserving the secrets of spirits and their names from the use of reading and profane men, which the ancient called hieroglyphical or sacred letters because devoted to the secrets of God only. They accounted it unlawful to write the mysteries of God with those characters which profane and vulgar things were wrote. Whence Porphyry says that the ancients were willing to conceal God and divine virtues by sensible figures and by those things which are visible yet signifying invisible things, as being willing to deliver great mysteries in sacred letters and explain them in certain symbolical figures, as when they dedicated all round things to the world, the sun and the moon, hope and fortune, a circle to the heavens and parts of a circle to the moon, pyramids and obelisks to the fire, a cylinder to the sun and earth. See the plate. Chapter 16. Another way of making characters according to the Kabbalists. Among the Hebrews I find more fashions of characters, whereof one is most ancient, viz., an ancient writing which Moses and the prophets used, the form of which is not rashly to be discovered to any. For those letters which they use at this day were instituted by Esdras. There is among them a writing which they call celestial, because they shew it placed and figured among the stars. There is also a writing which they call Malachim or Malachim, i.e., of angels or regal. There is also another which they call the passing through the river, and the characters and figures of all which you may see in the following plates. I have to have my mouse clicked over on that one for it to work properly. We'll just check out these 2 plates here. These are the ones I think we already looked at, the Kabbalah there, and this one down here. I don't think I want to mess with that. I'll just scroll this way. That way. I don't want to open it up because it's hard to get it back. Looks like the mysterious characters and letters delivered by Honorius called the Theban alphabet. And then the characters of celestial writing below it. The writing called Malachim right there below that. And then the writing called passing the river, maybe? Yeah, interesting. Cool looking characters. Okay, where was I? The following plates. There is another manner among the Kabbalists, formerly held in great esteem, but now it is so common that it is placed among profane things, viz., the 27 characters of the Hebrews may be divided into 3 classes, whereof every one contains 9 letters. The first, viz. Okay, I do have a Hebrew pronunciation of this. I have to read it. I will find it. It won't take long. Oh, it's after that, I think, after all that stuff, right? Or is it before that? Those are the 2 big ones, and then the small ones, there's those. Geez, I scrolled right on by everything. That's not it. I should really just redo this as I go here, but oh, I got to look at it from that way. Let's see. Huh. Yeah, it's funny. I can't seem to match it up with the ones I did. So I'm just going to redo this here quickly. I've got a Holtzcott. I've got a Holtzcott. I've got a Holtzcott. Holtzcott. I've got a Holtzcott, which are the seals or marks of simple numbers and of intellectual things distributed into 9 orders of angels. I'm going to do the other one. I'm just going to read these. I had them I kind of ripped through this real quick to try and make sure that I could do everything fairly fast, but I can't find my list. Well, it's just harder I might as well just spend a couple seconds and redo them. Yakul, Yakalman, Sayofse, the common Sayofse. The second hath Yakalman Sayofse, the marks of tens and celestial things in the 9 orbs of the heavens. Just quickly do this next one. Karesh, Tufmanse. The third hath the other 4 letters with the 5 final V's, Karesh, Tumense, which are marks of hundreds and inferior things, V's, 4 simple elements, and 5 kinds of perfect compounds. They do now and then distribute these 3 classes into 9 chambers. The first is of units, V, intellectual, celestial, and elemental. The second is of twos, the third of threes, and so of the rest. These chambers are framed by the intersection of 4 parallel lines intersecting themselves into right angles, as expressed in the following plate, figure A, out of which, being dissected into parts, proceed 9 particular figures, see plate, figure B, which are of the 9 chambers, characterizing their letters by that notariacon, which, if it be one of point, shews the first letter of that chamber, if of 2, the second, if of 3, the third letter, as if you would frame that character Michael that comes forth extended with 5 figures, for which see the plate C, which are contracted to 3 figures, which then are contracted into 1, yet the points notariacon are usually omitted, and then comes there forth such a character of Michael, see figure D. There is yet another fashion of characters common to almost all letters and tongues, and very easy, which is by gathering together of letters, as if the name of the angel Michael be given. The characters thereof shall be framed according to the figure E. And this fashion among the Arabians is most received. Neither is there any writing which is so readily and elegantly joined to itself as the Arabic. You must know that angelical spirits, seeing they are of a pure intellect and altogether incorporeal, are not marked with any marks or characters or any other human signs. But we, not otherwise knowing their essence or quality, do, from their names or works or otherwise, devote and consecrate to them figures and marks, by which we cannot any way compel them to us, but by which we rise up to them, as not to be known by such characters and figures. And first of all, we do set our senses, both inward and outward, upon them. Then, by a certain admiration of our reason, we are induced to a religious veneration of them, and then are wrapped with our whole mind into an ecstatical adoration, and then with a wonderful belief, an undoubted hope, and quickening love, calling upon them in spirit and truth by true names and characters, do obtain from them that virtue or power which we desire. Chapter 17. There is another kind of characters or marks of spirits which are received only by revelation. There is another kind of character received by revelation only, which can be found out no other way, the virtue of which characters is from the deity revealing, of whom there are some secret works breathing out a harmony of some divinity, or they are, as it were, some certain agreements or compacts of a league between us and them. Of this kind there was a sign shewed to Constantine, which was this in hoc vince. There was another revealed to Antiochus in the figure of a pentangle. There was another revealed to Antiochus in the figure of a pentacle. There was another. Interesting. I'm going to check out this while I'm stopped. The Kabbalistic character of the spirit Michael as compound out of the above tables, A, B, C, D. So that's how they got that. Wow, it almost seems like a sigil. Out of the above table. The Kabbalah there, figure A, B, C, D, and figure F is the seal. Huh. Cool. All right. Where was I? I hope I didn't delete anything by mistake there. In hoc vince. Okay, I'm just gonna, while I'm breaking here too, I just missed that one. There's a Greek letter, a Greek word in there. I got to get the pronunciation for that Greek word. And the cat is back. Funny, I remember doing this before too. I can't find them. Hygeia. And then this one down here, the 4 letters, Antiochus. Is Maccabi. Yeah, I did that last night. I don't know where it went. All right, so let's keep going here. Pentangle. There was another revealed to Antiochus in the figure of a pentangle, which signifies health. For being resolved into letters, it speaks the word hygeia, i.e., health, in the faith and virtue of which signs both kings obtained a great victory against their enemies. So Judas, who by reason of that was afterwards surnamed Maccabeus. I'm just going to hygeia. Okay, yeah, I got that right. I'm going to cheat this one too. Actually, I'll just redo that sentence. So Judas. And that one is Maccabi. So Judas, who by reason of that was afterwards surnamed Maccabeus, being to fight with the Jews against Antiochus Eupator, received from an angel a notable sign, Maccabi, in the virtue of which they first slew 11,000 with an infinite number of elephants. I couldn't say elephants. Come on. Do I redo this whole sentence? It's always at the end. Actually, that one wasn't at the end. Received from an angel a notable sign. Oh, that's going to be a while back. Okay, let me just, I'm going to redo that whole sentence. Sorry. So Judas, which I can just undo that. I've got my hot buttons program there. Okay. So Judas, who by reason of that was afterwards surnamed Maccabeus, being to fight with the Jews against Antiochus Eupator, received from an angel a notable sign, Maccabi, in the virtue of which they first slew 11,000 with an infinite number of elephants, then again 35,000 of their enemies. For that sign did represent the name of Jehovah, and was a memorable emblem of the name of 72 letters by the equality of number. And the exposition thereof is hmm, excuse me, my nose is all plugged up. I'm going to try and pronounce this few words here in Hebrew. um, me, mi batid ba'a limiak, mi batid, mi batid ba'a limiak, i.e., who is there among thee strong as Jehovah? See plate, figure F. Chapter 18. On the bonds of spirits and their abjurations and castings out. The bond by which spirits are bound, besought, or cast out are three. Some of them are taken from the elemental world, as when we abjure a spirit by an inferior or natural thing of affinity with or adverse to them, inasmuch as we would call up or cast them out, as by fumigations of flowers, herbs, animals, snow, ice, or by hell, fire, and such like. And these also are often mixed with divine praises, divine. Stop. And these also are. Scroll up while I can. And these also are often mixed with divine praises and blessings and consecrations, as appears in the Song of the Three Children and in the Psalm. Oh. Praise ye the Lord from the heavens, and in the consecration and blessings of the paschal taper. This bond works upon the spirits by an apprehensive virtue, under the account of love or hatred, inasmuch as the spirits are present with, or favor, or abhor anything that is natural or against nature, as these things themselves love or hate one another. The second bond is taken from the celestial world, viz., when we abjure them by their heaven, by the stars, by their motions, rays, light, beauty, clearness, excellency, fortitude, influence, and wonders, and such like. And this bond works upon spirits by way of admonition and example. It hath also some command, especially upon the ministering spirits and those who are of the lowest orders. The third bond is from the intellectual and divine world, which is perfected by religion. That is to say, when we swear by the sacraments, miracles, divine names, sacred seals, and other mysteries of religion. Wherefore, this bond is the highest of all and the strongest, working upon the spirits by command and power. But this is to be observed that as after the universal providence there is a particular one, and after the universal soul, particular souls. So, in the first place, we invocate by the superior bonds and by the names and powers which rule the things, and then by the inferior and the things themselves. We must know further that by these bonds not only spirits, but also the creatures are bound, as tempests, burnings, floods, plagues, diseases, force of arms, and every animal, by assuming them either by abjuration or deprecation or benediction, as in the charming of serpents. Besides, the natural and celestial, by rehearsing out of the mysteries and religion, the cure of the serpent in terrestrial paradise, the lifting up of the serpent in the wilderness, likewise by assuming that verse of the 91st Psalm, thou shalt walk upon the asp and the basilisk, and shall tread upon the lion and the dragon. Chapter 19. By what means magicians and necromancers call forth the souls of the dead? By the things which have been already spoken, it is manifest that souls after death do as yet love their body which they left, as those souls do whose bodies want due burial or have left their bodies by violent death, and as yet wander about their carcasses in a troubled and most. Really? That was a long sentence. They're all long sentences. But the moist, I had the trouble. On moist spirit, really? I didn't expect it to say moist spirit. Come on. Do I redo this whole sentence? Oh my God. I feel like there wasn't really a good spot to cheat that one. So I'm just going to redo that whole crazy first sentence. By their moist spirit. By the things which have been already spoken, it is manifest that souls after death do as yet love their body which they left, as those souls who do. Oh no, this is what happens. By the things which have been already spoken, it is manifest that souls after death do as yet love their body which they left, as those souls do whose bodies want due burial or have left their bodies by violent death, and as yet wander about their carcasses in a troubled and moist spirit, being, as it were, allured by something that hath an affinity with them, the means being known by which in times past they were joined to their bodies. They may be easily called forth and allured by the like vapors, liquors, and savors. Certain artificial lights also being used, songs, sounds, and such like, which moves the imaginative and spiritual harmony of the soul, and sacred invocations and such like, as belong to religion, ought not to be neglected by reason of the portion of the rational soul which is above nature. Necromancy has its name because it works on the bodies of the dead, and gives answers by the ghosts and apparitions of the dead, and subterraneous spirits, alluring them into the carcasses of the dead by certain hellish charms and infernal invocations, and by deadly sacrifices and wicked oblations. There are two kinds of necromancy: raising the carcasses, which is not done without blood; the other sciomancy, in which the calling up of the shadow only suffices. To conclude, it works all its experiments by the carcasses of the slain and their bones and members, and what is from them. For there is in these things a spiritual power friendly to them. Therefore they easily allure the flowing down of wicked spirits by reason of the similitude and property of every familiar, by whom the necromancer, strengthened by their help, can do much in human and terrestrial things, and kindle unlawful lusts, cause dreams, diseases, hatred, and such like passions. To which also they can confer the powers of the soul, which as yet being involved in a moist and turbid spirit, wandering about their cast bodies, can do the same things that the wicked spirits commit, seeing therefore they experimentally find that the wicked and impure souls violently plucked from their bodies, and of men not expiated, and wanting burial, do stray about carcasses, and are drawn to them by affinity. The witches easily abuse them for effecting witchcraft, alluring these unhappy souls by the opposition of their body, or by the taking of some parts thereof, and compelling them by their devilish charms, by entreating them by the deformed carcasses dispersed through the wide fields, and the wandering shadows of those who want burials, and by the ghosts sent back from Acheron, and the guests of hell, whom untimely death has precipitated into hell, and by the horrible desires of the damned and proud devils, revengers of wickedness. But he who could restore the souls truly to their bodies must first know what is the proper nature of the soul from whence it went forth, with how many and how great degrees of perfection it is replenished, with what intelligence it is strengthened, by what means diffused into the body, by what harmony it shall be compacted with, what affinity it hath with God, with the intelligences, with the heavens, elements, and all other things, whose image and resemblance it holds, To conclude by what influences the body may be knit together again for the raising of the dead, requires all these things which belong not to men, but to God only, to whom he will communicate them. Mocha, sweetie. She just moved the whole monitor over. All right, I'm not going to redo that and. I missed an and in there, but I'm just going to go with it. Whoops, better not talk. Shit, Zeus is back too. Drinking my coffee. Now the cats are rambunctious. Oh boy. I don't know. They've been the cats have been difficult these days, a little out of sorts. I don't know what's going on with them. I know Zeus wants outside. Say hi to the camera, Zeus. He's trying to drink my coffee. Okay, guys, come on. Just let me finish up here. Okay. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Here we go. We'll finish off this chapter. And then that is the end of this book 2, which was split into 2 parts itself. Kind of confusing, but. Chapter 20 of Prophetical Dreams. I call that a dream which proceeds either from the spirit of the fantasy and intellect united together, or by the illustration of the agent intellect above our souls, or by the true revelation of some divine power in a quiet and purified mind. For by this our soul receives true oracles and abundantly yields prophecies to us. For in dreams we seem both to ask questions and learn to find them out. Also many doubtful things, many policies, many things unknown, unwished for, and never attempted by our minds are manifested to us in dreams. Also the representation of things unknown and unknown places appear to us, and the images of men, both alive and dead, and of things to come, are foretold, and also things which at any time have happened are revealed, which we know not by any report. And these dreams need not any art of interpretation, as those of which we have more. I better just redo that sentence there. And these dreams need not any art of interpretation, as those of which we have before spoken, which belong to divination, not to foreknowledge. And it comes to pass that they who see dreams, for the most part, understand them not. For as to see dreams is from the strength of imagination, so to understand them is from the strength of the understanding. They therefore, whose intellect being overwhelmed by too much commerce of the flesh is in a dead sleep, or its imaginative or fantastic power or spirit is too dull and unpolished, that it cannot receive the species and representation which flow from the superior intellect,